Welcome to Human Services 146. This is psychosocial rehabilitation for children and families. Basically, what we're going to cover in here is what happens with children. Some time ago, they changed what was the MFT, or MFCC actually, to the MFT. At one point it said marriage, family, and child counseling. Partly because it's really difficult to deal with children, and there aren't a whole lot of people who just want to do that. It became marriage and family therapist. And I think that tells us something about dealing with children who have severe problems, that we are confused, we don't know where to go with it, we don't know how to deal with it. So we're going to talk about that. How does psychosocial rehabilitation deal with that? Let's talk about that at the end of the class, because I think to show you what happens when you deal with children, the whole thing is a psychosocial model. You can't do it without a team. It's almost impossible and terribly expensive. So as we start that, let me tell you a little bit about the class. As I said, I'm Dr. Linda Gillespie. My doctorate happens to be in counseling psychology. I'm eligible for licensing as a clinical psychologist. I've chosen not to go that direction. And one of the reasons why I like this particular class is because this is where my life has been, is working with children, mostly through the schools, because that's where all the children are. We have a textbook for this class. I like it a lot. The author of the book is Jess Shatkin. It's Treating Child and Adolescent Mental Illness. He is a California man, a pediatrician psychiatrist. His dad also is a pediatric psychiatrist up in Novato. And because of that, this book tends to follow all the rules in California, which I really like because we don't always deal with it the same as the rest of the United States. One of the most important things that you need to know is in Start Here, there is a copy of IDEA. IDEA is the reauthorization of PL 94-142, which is the law of the handicapped. It's extremely important that you know what's in there, because that's what allows us to treat children in mental health issues. So each week you're going to start with a module. It says Module 1, it goes through Module 10. It's going to really move fast because we only have 10 weeks as opposed to the usual 16. So each week you're going to have a discussion question, and that discussion question is your participation. I know you're actually in there taking part in the class and at least looking at what's there. In that discussion question, you're going to talk to each other. You're going to respond to a question. Somebody's going to respond to you and your answer. And you're going to get to know each other a little bit by your responses to whatever those questions are. So I hope you'll take the time to really think through, what the meanings of those are. You're also going to have a video usually. You'll most likely have one from me talking to you about the subject matter. I don't always do that in classes, but in this particular class there's some things that you need to understand. There are going to be some terms that you're going to find are new and that you haven't dealt with before, and I'm going to go over those. If you have questions on them, feel free to ask me questions. You can call me, you can put it online if you want to, whatever helps you to understand what we're talking about. You're also going to have videos, the first one being The Baby's Brain, which is part of a PBS series on the brain, fairly new, and I think you'll find it not necessarily complicated, but kind of tells you where it all starts. We used to think that a baby was born with a tabula rasa, an absolutely clean slate, that they started with nothing, but we know that's not true. It's a rich, hot bed just waiting to be developed. And I think you're going to see from that series that the brain is the center of all human behavior. And so it's really important that you understand some of that. You're going to see 3 videos from that series. I put them online for you on Blackboard. If you have difficulty finding it, having it open for you, you can always go to Google and look up the video, The Baby's Brain, Wider Than the Sky, and you'll be able to find it, and you can watch it just by doing that Google search. So almost every video you can do that with. If it's not on YouTube, it's on a some sort of video, and I will check it to make sure that it's there. As we speak right now, all the videos are there for you to watch. And you will find that you're expected to come back with some of that information and material as you answer your questions. You'll have a class exercise question that's going to deal with a textbook. And the textbook is going to deal, as you see, as you look at your modules, with a different kind of mental illness for children in every single week of this class. You're also going to have a critical thinking question. And that question will deal with speakers, it will deal with videos, it will deal with what you've read, it will deal with what you've looked up. All of that must be incorporated because you will not receive full credit unless you use examples from your reading and viewing. It's there for a reason. And there's a lot of material here. You have a couple of speakers during this summer session. One's a school psychologist and the other works for a major organization. And I expect you to know the information that they present you. Right now, everything is there. You may get more from me than you do from some of the material that you've been assigned. I am available. I answer emails right away, and I will also answer you on the telephone. If I don't like an answer that you have, or I have some question about what you said, you may find me calling you. So I have all of your phone numbers. I hope they're all correct. If they're not, send me the correct one. And I like talking to you, so feel free to do that. In this particular class, some of the information you will not have had before in any class that you've taken. And I hope you'll find it as interesting as I do. So as we get started, be sure you read Start Here. You'll find the entire copy of IDEA, and it's there so you don't have to go and look it up, but you are responsible for reading parts of it, and you need to have a working knowledge of what's in that particular piece of legislation. So as we get started here, go to Blackboard, look at the assignments. This week's assignments will be right there for you, and then I always list on each module what's coming up for the next week. So pay attention to that. If you have questions, be sure you let me know. I'll look forward to working with you.